From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
A cloudy, humid day is expected to give way to torrential storms across the valley. We're tracking several cities' plans to deal with major flooding.
I don't know, it just even gives me like the chills just to think about it, just to be there. Like I'm not even there yet and I'm already like freaking out.
A group of Arizonans is making a cross-country pilgrimage to see Pope Francis make history.
And later, a health warning from the state officials why this year's head lice outbreaks are harder to fight.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Mitch Casada.
And I'm Lauren Michaels. Thanks for joining us.
Our top story tonight, parts of northern and central Arizona could get drenched, and communities across the valley are helping residents prepare for possible flooding. Cronkite News reporter Jake Gayden is tracking the latest.
Take a look at the radar behind me. As moisture moves in, a lot of things are going on in the metro area. Phoenix, Mesa, Tempe, and Apache Junction are among the metro area cities distributing either free sand, sand bags, or both to residents. It is estimated that there will be up to 2 inches of total rainfall for the next storm. With monsoon season nearly over and the hottest days of summer behind us, Arizona's weather is usually perfect in late September.
Well, first, this is not a monsoon.
Steve Waters, the floodwater branch manager from the Arizona Flood Control District of Maricopa County, says this storm is different than others.
What we're seeing today is the remnants of a tropical storm moving up from Mexico, and it's going to be interacted with a Pacific front that comes through tomorrow. So we have lots of moisture in place, and we're just waiting for some triggers to lift that moisture up and form thunderstorms.
With a storm of this magnitude, Waters and the rest of his staff try to warn the public as early as possible.
So we're already in flash flood watch until tomorrow night at 11. And as things progress, we may or may not put out flash flood warnings for our different forecast zones.
Waters' advice on the storm? Be prepared for anything.
Pretty heavy cells of rain just about anywhere. So one good way to prepare is to plan to stay home.
This storm resembles the one that hit Arizona last September, which flooded homes, freeways, and brought down trees all over the valley. And if these storms are at all alike, Arizona could be in store for some massive damage.
The more people can stay home, the less problems we'll have out on the roadways.
Now, according to Waters, the storm has just begun. He's predicting the storm to be at its worst during tomorrow's rush hour during the morning, which may lead to massive problems across freeways across the state. Jake Gayden, Cronkite News.
The Phoenix Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security also will be closely monitoring any threat of flash flooding from the city's Emergency Operations Center. The EOC provides real-time connectivity between the city, county, and greater Phoenix metro area. The street transportation and public works departments have crews on standby, and they have prepped all storm response equipment, making sure that critical catch basins are clear to ensure proper water drainage.
The rain we are seeing today could continue into tomorrow, leaving behind several inches of rain. The city of Tempe is encouraging its residents to be prepared. Sandbags are also available at 2 locations, at the Tempe Field Operations and Benedict Sports Complex. Tempe is also asking residents to help each other by reporting storm damages using the new GIS map. People can add downed trees and flooded streets to the map so that crews can be sent out to clear the damaged areas. Visit the website at tempe.gov/monsoons for more information.
The search for a 6-year-old Hilldale boy continued today in Utah. The last known victim of the flood has still not been located by searchers and volunteers. Sunday was designated as a day of rest as hot temperatures started to take a toll on responders. They have been working 10-hour days searching for Tyson Black. In total, 13 women and children were killed in the Hilldale flash flood last Monday.
The future of Arizona transportation was discussed at length in a forum involving local leaders today. Cronkite News reporter Wafa Shahid joins us with the details. Wafa?
More public transportation, using technology to enhance public transit, and how to pay for it all were all some of the ideas discussed at the Beyond Traffic Forum today.
Well, I think that the first thing we have to do is that we have to kind of make transportation sexy.
Ask any commuter. They'll tell you they spend a lot of time in traffic. Today, local and national transportation leaders gathered to take a look at some possible solutions. Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton and the Deputy Secretary from the U.S. Department of Transportation hosted the event. The idea? Get local leaders together to try to find solutions to our transit troubles. Local leaders emphasized passing legislation that will not only make Arizona more traversable, but will also benefit Arizonans.
I'm really passionate about what they call transportation equity. And really, that is something that you can interpret in many different ways. But as the mayor of a West Valley city that is the far northwest corner of the region, equity to me means being fully connected to all of the region, and that includes the Northwest Valley.
I think that for so long we have believed that the road is there and therefore it should just always be there. But somebody's got to pay for that pothole. Someone has to pay for the new asphalt that gets laid down as the sun erodes it over time.
Technology was a reoccurring theme, but top of mind for most, how to keep funding flowing.
I think the area that is most important to me is the financial side. It's most important because the reality is we can't accomplish building any of these things if we don't find a way to pay for it first.
The passing of future Arizona transportation legislation will dictate whether the ideas discussed at this panel will materialize in 2016 and beyond. In the Broadcast Center, Wafa Shahid, Cronkite News.
This week marks the first journey to Cuba and United States for Pope Francis. He arrived this morning in Holguin, Cuba, where he was greeted by thousands of Catholics. This is the first time he visited the city. He led Mass today and will be in Cuba till Tuesday, when he flies to Washington, D.C., where he meets with leaders and is set to speak in front of Congress Thursday.
Governor Doug Ducey, a lifelong Catholic, was invited by President Barack Obama to meet the Pope at the White House on Wednesday. He's traveling with his wife Angela to Washington for a White House event and then will be in attendance as Pope Francis addresses a joint session of Congress.
Some other Arizonians are also making cross-country trips to Philadelphia to see the Pope's visit there. Cronkite News reporter Jennifer Souls caught up with some very exciting families on a spiritual journey.
This is our prayer wall. And this is our family.
Gilbert resident Elizabeth Nance is taking her family of 5, including her young granddaughter, to Philadelphia in hopes that they gain a deeper understanding of their faith.
And so that's my goal, is to take away that they meet the head of the Catholic Church and to know that he's the rock. And why is he the rock? And why do we call him the Pope? And why is he the Holy Father?
And the excitement keeps building among Arizona Catholics, including this Phoenix youth group.
He's one of the descendants that Jesus left for us, so we could follow him. That's just, I don't know, it just even gives me like the chills just to think about it, just to be there. Like, I'm not even there yet and I'm already like freaking out.
Adding to the thrill, this is the first Pope from Latin America.
And he has his insights in it, and he has had to go through that himself, and to know that there's someone who's actually there to support us and to help us through it is just an amazing feeling.
Because of their devout faith, these Arizona Catholics are willing to travel far and cope with large crowds.
At first I got this parade route, and then I looked it up on the internet, and then I looked up all the hotels that were on the parade route, and just kept calling around until I found a hotel that was actually on the parade route.
Many people making what some may call this modern-day pilgrimage don't have tickets to any of the events, but they're still willing to travel 2,300 miles from Phoenix to Philadelphia just to be in the presence of the Pope. In Phoenix, Jennifer Souls, Cronkite News.
Now to the latest in the race for the Republican presidential nomination. Carly Fiorina is on the rise after the latest GOP debate, according to a new CNN poll. Before the debate, Fiorina only had 3% of the vote. Donald Trump led with 32%, with Ben Carson in second with 19%. Fiorina soared to 15% after the debate, while Trump fell to 24% and Carson fell to 14%.
Now more people know who I am, and we know, based on what's happened before this debate, that as people come to know me and they understand who I am and what I've done, and most importantly what I will do, they tend to support me.
The Republican primary race has also spurred a lot of talk about the Latino vote in 2016. And in Washington, D.C., the Congressional Hispanic Caucus is sending a message to the Latino community. Cronkite News reporter Adriana Barajas explains.
Members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus gathered outside the Capitol to send a special message to the Latino community in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month.
Those that are mad at politics, they're mad at hearing about their family members being murdered and rapists, knowing that their uncles and their dads and their parents worked every day hard just to bring home the American dream.
His message for the Arizona Latino community was very clear.
The way for you to get your revenge is to register to vote this year and to get out there and vote for the candidates that are going to protect your community.
Some members are the embodiment of that success. People like Congresswoman Norma Torres, who talked.
A girl that came to the U.S. was sent here by her parents because they saw no future for her in Guatemala.
Their future would be the American dream.
Little girl was not a rapist. That little girl that came to the U.S. was not a drug dealer. That little girl is now a member of Congress.
This event coincidentally occurred the same day that the White House launched the Stand Stronger citizenship campaign to encourage eligible permanent residents to commit to citizenship. As the Latino community continues to grow in this country, Congressman Gallego is encouraging young Latino voters to join the movement in the upcoming election.
They need to take a hold of their future, especially those under the age of 18.
In Washington, D.C., Adriana Barajas, Cronkite News.
The Hong Kong Commissioner of Economic and Trade Affairs visited Phoenix today to meet with government officials and business and academic leaders of the state. In 2014, Arizona's exports to Hong Kong totaled $351 million, but Commissioner Clement Leung thinks there's potential for more, so he's in Phoenix today to give businesses the rundown on how to tap into the Hong Kong market, and he's targeting a specific type of business.
We are hoping to break some new ground by connecting the startup sectors here. We know that Arizona has a very pro-business environment, and that is one of the conducive factors for the number of startups that are springing up and getting fired up in this state.
Hong Kong is just the launching point. After that, there's China. The commissioner wants to help Phoenix businesses take advantage of several fast-growing markets in Asia.
Firefighters deal with emergencies and injuries every day.
But how do they train to deal with severe trauma? Coming up on Cronkite News, firefighters have a chance for some hands-on experience before facing a mass casualty situation in the field.
Plus, the ASU Police Department is joining a growing list of universities to implement an SVU program. Find out which will be effective and to the universities in the community.
Hi, I'm Paula Kirker, president of PBS, and I'd like to personally thank you if you've made a contribution to 8 Arizona PBS. You know, when you fund your favorite shows on this station, you're ensuring great television continues to be available for yourself, your family, and everyone in your community. One of the easiest ways to do that is by making a monthly contribution on an ongoing basis, what we call sustaining membership. When you call, tell us how much you'd like to donate each month. Our current sustainers tell us that $10, $15, or $20 a month is best for them, but you decide what works for you. After you've made that call, we will deduct that amount each month from your credit card or your bank account, and we will continue until you tell us otherwise. Your membership will always remain current, and renewal notices will become a thing of the past. Best of all, your ongoing support means that the best television on television will continue to come your way every single day of the year. So please, consider a sustaining contribution today. Thank you for your support of this PBS station.
A study done by the Association of American Universities shows that more than 20% of female undergraduates at schools across the country said they were victims of sexual assault and misconduct this year. The study was one of the largest studies of college sexual violence that surveyed more than 150,000 students at 27 prominent universities. The survey showed that alcohol and drugs were important factors in sexual assault.
ASU is now one of 4 universities that's established a special investigations unit to deal specifically with sexual assault. Cronkite News reporter Ivan Rodriguez took a look at how this new unit will operate.
ASU, along with dozens of other universities, has been under investigation by the U.S. Department of Education since last year for how it handles sex assault cases. The university has been making changes, including requiring students to attend assault awareness programs. The latest includes this special victims unit, and they say their focus will be on the victim.
One student being victimized by sexual violence is one too many.
The ASU Police Department protects the largest public university in the nation, spread across 4 campuses.
The population that we protect and serve on a day-to-day basis happens to consist of the highest demographic for victims of sexual violence, being females ages 18 to 24.
The new Special Victims Unit will focus not just on sexual assault, but dating violence, domestic violence, and crimes against children. But no matter the investigation, the 5-person investigative team wants to help the victim get through the traumatic event.
We want to help the victims find justice for their situation, and at the same time, if we create an environment where victims feel comfortable working with the police department and the university when they're having to go through these investigations, we're hoping that that word gets out so that other victims feel more comfortable to come forward with their stories.
The group Students for Consent, which tries to educate students on how to prevent sexual violence, agrees with the department's focus on the victim.
I am glad, though, that ASU is taking the steps forward to take care of their student body and make sure that the cases that come to their desk are taken with appropriate care and that the victims are kept in mind as they are going through this, at times, really traumatic process of having to relive and explain and be interrogated.
ASU PD began their operations during the summer. The detectives heading the unit have gone through extensive training in the area of sexual assault, response, investigation, and victimology. In the broadcast center, Ivan Rodriguez, Cronkite News.
When lives are at stake, hands-on training is critical. Paramedics with the Phoenix Fire Department were able to practice their response in a training drill at the U of A's Health and Innovation Building. They practiced on lifelike mannequins suffering severe injuries. And we want to warn you, the video you're about to see is very realistic. The drill, a mass shooting incident. Massive injuries not seen every day in the field. So this simulation lab helps give the paramedics hands-on experience. One member of the Phoenix Fire Department said that familiarizing yourself with the process and equipment can win in the race against time to save a life.
So the simulation lends that ability to run through some actual incidents and get your hands on, and we've been able to use some of these mannequins and everything else in order to practice needle decompression or to practice packing a wound that is bleeding.
Stevenson said every firefighter and paramedic in the department will be trained with mannequins and simulations to make them ready for the field. A new study shows that Arizona is one of the 25 states with a bug.
And not just any bug, a super type of lice that's hard to kill. Coming up on Cronkite News, hear what local experts suggest you do to keep yourself safe and itch-free.
The easiest and best way to support 8 Arizona PBS is by becoming a sustaining member. Your monthly contribution of $5 or more comes directly from your bank account or credit card, so you know your membership is always current. It also means no more renewal notices in your mailbox. So more of your dollars go to the programs you love. It's convenient for you, greener for us, and better for the planet. Become a sustaining member today.
Tap into the art scene from coast to coast. Join the Art Beat Nation, a weekly series where you'll experience a rich cultural tapestry of art stories from across America. Meet artists, writers, composers, and performers setting the pulse of the arts in America now. Join us for a brand new episode of Art Beat Nation. Sunday at 5 on 8HD. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Watch us online. Become a news source for the Arizona PBS Public Insight Network. Your ideas and insights can help us create relevant and distinctive reporting. Join now at azpbs.org/pin.
Throughout its history, Arizona PBS and volunteers have enjoyed a rich and rewarding partnership. Whether answering phones during our pledge campaigns, stuffing envelopes, or assisting with special events, volunteering at 8 is fun and provides excellent work experience, team building for a group, and a sense of community involvement and importance. If you would like to volunteer at 8, or if you have dropped off our mailing list, we encourage you to call the number on your screen or go online at azpbs.org/volunteer. Thank you.
It's a health issue few people want to admit to dealing with. head lice. But Arizona is one of 25 states dealing with super lice. Researchers say the pests have developed a resistance to over-the-counter remedies and are much harder to get rid of. I met with a couple experts to see just how common this really is.
Someone that you are friends with has lice.
It's all too common for kids to find themselves in the chair due to head lice. Jordan, a 6th grader, is back after 2 weeks of being bug-free from her first treatment.
I'm back here for a checkup for the second time, and they found 2 more bugs. I don't think I'd ever be able to do it on my own.
Lice is a common problem. According to the CDC, there are roughly 6 to 12 million infestations in the U.S. each year. And now over-the-counter remedies may not be working as well.
The term super lice does not imply that there's something that's untreatable. It's still treatable. There's prescription routes. But again, there's a lot of information that's out there.
Many are turning to lice treatment centers to help get rid of the bugs.
So this is a baby, a teenager, and an adult.
The advice from the pros.
Like I said, the really only effective way to remove head lice is by combing.
And use a comb with very small grooves. If you don't,
it's not going to get a nit off the hair. And a nit is an egg, and it's on one side of the hair shaft, and it's very sticky, and it's very hard to remove.
As for Jordan, now bug-free, her grandma will continue to check her and advises many to do the same for their kids.
They need to be vigilant about the nurses at the school not letting children back unless their heads are clean, and to check the children's heads thoroughly.
Top myths: lice has nothing to do with hygiene. They don't fly, they jump, and they crawl. Lice can't live on pets, and they don't live long if they're not near a source of human blood.
Children with terminal illnesses can have their dreams fulfilled by organizations like Make-A-Wish. But did you know a similar program exists for U.S. veterans? Coming up next on Cronkite News, we introduce you to one Arizona family making an inspiring visit to the nation's capital.
Fridays, it's at Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Then join us for at Cronkite News, our weekly refresh, each Friday at 5 on Arizona PBS.
Tickets are available now for one of the most anticipated luncheon events of the year. Join industry leaders from the worlds of media, politics, business, and education as we honor award-winning news anchor and late-night host Charlie Rose, this year's recipient of the Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism. The event takes place at the Phoenix Downtown Sheraton on Monday, October 19th at 11:30 a.m. For tickets, visit azpbs.org/Rose or call 602-496-4539.
Hi, I'm Judy Woodruff, co-anchor of the PBS NewsHour. Preparing the next generation of journalists has never been more important than it is now. With its groundbreaking partnership with Arizona PBS, the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at ASU is revolutionizing journalism education to provide students with a real opportunity to work and learn under the supervision of veteran journalists, producers, directors, and editors on newscasts, investigative stories, and documentary productions. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, reinventing journalism education in the digital age.
Along with a network of volunteers and supporters, grants final dreams for adults with a life-threatening illness. For one Arizona military family, the Dreams for Veterans program offered a trip of a lifetime to Washington, D.C. Cronkite News reporter Elizabeth Blackburn has their story.
James and Sherry Malone may look like the typical DC tourists, but they are here for another reason: to fulfill a last wish.
His dream was a trip here to Washington, D.C., and he just wanted to come, bring us here, show us, the monuments, show us the Declaration of Independence, wanted to go to, some of the museums.
And Dreams for Veterans granted that wish.
Dreams for Veterans had approved my father's dream of taking a trip to Washington, D.C. with our family. He was so excited to go. That's all he and I would talk about for that month.
But Jim Malone never made it on the trip. He died the night before.
But right up to the end, he just kept saying, I can't believe that, they're doing this for me, and I'm so grateful. And he just really it overwhelmed him. It overwhelmed him at the end how much kindness, just the huge outpouring of love and kindness that he was getting.
Dreams for Veterans invited the Malones to an event in D.C. to honor the veterans who were granted wishes.
When he first passed, they offered us, if you still want to go on the trip, go ahead, and we didn't want to. But it was really just an honor to be here and see the other veterans who had their dreams granted.
Representative Matt Salmon presented them with a flag that flew over the Capitol in Jim's honor.
The flag was flown for the Malone family in honor of James Malone. To honor the life of U.S. Navy veteran James Malone, your deep love of the country will never be forgotten. Thank you for your patriotism, selflessness, and brave service to your country. God bless you, and thank you so much.
As they toured around D.C., they say this was the trip Jim would have wanted them to have.
It's been really wonderful, and it's felt like Jim's been with us today. It was a last gift from him that we got to do this.
In Washington, D.C., Elizabeth Blackburn, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's next on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
Coming up after Cronkite News, it's Arizona Horizon. A new report from the State Board of Regents shows that nearly half of Arizona high school graduates do not meet the criteria to enroll in the state's 3 public universities.
I'm Hari Srinivasan. On the next NewsHour, we kick off a week's worth of coverage on the Pope's visit and start with a look at Who is Francis? That's Monday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.